and welcome. Today I wanted to tell you about why I think psychometrics will become a very important science of the future. Now, first of all, what is psychometrics? It is the study of measures of psychological properties that are attempted to be measured, that are attempted to be observed by means of questionnaire, by means of having the participant fill out a questionnaire, answer questions, and attempt to give most appropriate or most authentic answers to personal questions. By that means one can assess a sort of personality profile that is attempted to be most quantitative instead of just qualitative. So it attempts to turn psychology into a sort of more exact statistical science, which originated in the kind of assessment of peoples during colonial age. Now, the problem with this kind of field is obviously that most of these measures are relative. They're dependent and can only be assessed between subjective accounts. So there's no sort of general measure, general yardstick for these properties, such as IQ and creativity, extroversion, and many more. What is attempted then is to create some sort of average, some sort of mean of the test sample, which establishes a kind of abstract subject among many other subjects to which they are all related to. So take, for example, the measure of IQ. It is normed at 100, meaning the average is always set at 100 IQ, and the value that some person is attributed to, like the value of IQ, is always in respect to the abstract mean average subject having an IQ of 100. Now, why would I claim that psychometrics is going to become increasingly relevant? The reason is that mere questionnaires are not the only way of assessing personality and creating personality profiles. Since the technological age, the digital age, for example, in social media, there has been means of assessing personality profiles just based on your social media activity, just based on the likes you give on social media, for example, on Facebook. And the personality profiles that could be assessed by using trained neural networks, assessing the various activity on social media, leads to very, very accurate predictions on human behavior, very, very accurate personality profiles. It is an interesting thing to look into, as it has led to many things such as targeted advertising or even targeted election manipulation, as in the case of Cambridge Analytica. Now, if in the future, and it seems to be an ongoing trend, people communicate increasingly with artificial avatars. So it will not only be humans people interact with, but also with artificial intelligences, with conversational AI that one talks to and spends a long time talking to. Now, the assessment of large language models to which a human talks to directly for long periods of time will be able to assess even more thoroughly, even more deeply, the kind of personality structure of each person. And that would enable predictive models that can predict human behavior, at least for a large average kind of population, that could predict the behavior very, very accurately. And it would put a lot of things into question and raise a lot of ethical questions about control, about privacy, and about the transparency and kind of technocratic control of human individuals. So one question that arises here is the presupposition behind it already faulty? Is it already questionable to say that you can assess personality only based on what has been kind of portrayed and expressed by the functional interaction with social media, for example, with any technology for that sake. And another question is there really a means of defining some sort of authentic personality that is being assessed with psychometrics? I've had a discussion with Professor Möller, who introduced the kind of concept of prophilicity, and the question arises whether there's only a multitude of modes of prophilicity, where you're not assessing some sort of authentic identity by means of Facebook likes, but more a prophilic identity, which can then be used to target advertising, but it by no means is applicable to other modes of prophilicity on, let's say, other platforms or other technologies. So I hope that gave you something to think about, and I will see you next time.